first of all, Dave, before we get ready for looking at towards a very tasty game that's coming up, the chairman was on the radio last night talking about all things Crewe, and he actually said, you know, about how you are and how it's been for you and how the supportive the board are. How does that make you feel when it's not been nice to look at that league table?
The truth of the matter is, I think any other club I'd have been sacked. I'm not stupid enough or naive enough to think that. But at the same time, most of the football club, we wouldn't have just sold, you know, the best 5 players in 6 months. So, you know, you'd like to think that if you're doing your bit for the club, that the board do the bit for you. And I never once doubted. Listen, don't get me wrong, we're second bottom. You know, it's not like, oh, we won a game, you know. But I've never questioned the chairman's integrity, and I don't think he's ever questioned mine or the board. They're good, honest people. I spent whatever half an hour with one of the directors after the game Tuesday. You know, before the Doncaster game, it was the same director. I spent 2 hours with him in the boardroom, talking through things because he wanted some more clarification on a few bits. Then he'd already been down here and had 2 hours with Aidan, you know, the academy manager in the morning. So I think when you're open, honest, truthful, you know, and you're all on the same page, and you keep good lines of communication between everyone. And yes, primarily I speak to the chairman, but it's not as if I don't speak to, or other directors can't speak to me. Any potential issues or any ambiguity gets ironed out quite quickly because there's a reason, you know, that ambiguity. And it's the same with me. If I've got a problem or an issue or something I'm not quite sure, I'm going to ask a question, because it's important that you then be adult about it and, you know, speak honestly and openly and work through any issues or problems. There's good problems and there's bad problems. You know, there is, and when you're like that, you know, I think that the other good thing is that I think, and this is where the fans come in, they don't put pressure on the board either. You know, at most of the clubs, the fans deserve huge credit. At most of the clubs that have been calling for my head, at which point most chairmen and boards go, well, to get the heat off me, I'll sack him. At our football club, I think all the fans understand where we're at and the cycles and the processes that we have to go through. And I hope they're thoroughly enjoying the 8 academy lads that they saw on Tuesday night winning a game of football, because that's what we try and do. You know, yes, we have had a sticky 3 or 4 months, but we're trying to maintain the business model, we're trying to maintain the philosophy of the football club, my philosophy, that the whole works, if you like. And it's not easy. It's not easy, and it does need time. But there's, you know, yes, results are always an indicator. We get that, we're in a results industry. However, you can't sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater if things aren't going your way straight away after such a real good spell for the football club the last 2.5 years. You know, we've just been hurtling down the other side of the roller coaster, and now we're going back up. That's the way I see it. Now we haven't fallen off the roller coaster, or even, you know, we're going round again. And so you go, well, and that's what football management is, and that's what certainly it is at this football club. And that the rough with the smooth kind of thing. And I was telling the chairman sort of already knew, because one thing the chairman is very, very, very smart. We knew 12, 18 months ago that this period was coming, because we'd developed players and they were on the right track to all go on. You know, and we're doing that again, I think. So, you know, obviously I'm grateful to still be sat here. There's no danger of that. There's no question of that. But I also think that I'd hope that the board are grateful for the job I'm doing as well. And when you, like I said, when you're on the same page and you're all fighting for the same cause and you're all trying to really strive, you know, you've seen the players deserve huge credit. They've been through the ringer as well. But then they're coming out of it slowly. You know, as any other team in the division won the last 3 home games 2-0, maybe some at the top. I bet there's very few in the bottom half. No, that's because we're putting them building blocks back in place to make us successful again, and that's important.
You just talked about that business model. It's interesting, you know. I think there were near enough 50 odd clubs represented here the other night. Who knows whether they were watching? But how do you feel about all that? Because you just mentioned 5 or 6 year players went out last year to championship clubs. Is that something you just get on with and accept?
I never look at the scouts list. It is what it is, you know. And there's more scouts, football scouts now than in Baden Powell's mob. It is, isn't there? Because they're everywhere. It is what it is. You know, if somebody makes contact with the chairman or the board or myself and makes an offer for any of our players, that's assuming they're watching our players. You know, was the 50 here last week? Probably not. They might be watching the Lincoln play. You know, I don't know. For example, you know. So that's just. I just see that as noise. It is what it is. It's more important to me that the players are improving all the time, because that's my job. That's what I focus on.
Well, the one thing you're getting at the moment is that slow improvement, but you know, it's still, many times you said to me, if you don't move with the times, somebody comes and eats your dinner, and you've got to still continue doing other things, like talking about contracts, talking about your loan players and your January window. Is that still ongoing, or is it harder because of where you are in the league?
No, there's a lad going out on loan today. We've already got things in place for January, not signings, but we've got processes the cogs are turning. Obviously, you've got the games, the incessant nature of the games. Yes, you've always got contract issues. We've got about 3, 4, 5 outstanding, whatever the number is. So that's a constant part of my daily diary to ring agents and speak to players, sometimes parents, about where we're at. That's an everyday. That doesn't change. Doesn't matter the time of the year. That's always in my diary. So that's the job. That's the nature of the job. That makes us successful. The more players that understand and truly believe that what we can do for them at this football club. Can we offer them the most wages in the league? No. Can we offer them the average even? No. The value we can give them is by playing them and making sure 50 scouts are coming to watch them.
Well, your main job, of course, is being the first team football manager to get results, and you're off the back of a victory, and again, 2-0. It can quickly propel you up the league if you can get a sequence, and you're in a real hectic schedule, like all clubs are at this particular month in December. Yeah,
look, I think the way we're starting to build on what we're doing is positive. I think we won 3 out of the last 5, 3 out of the last 6, something like that. Well, that's not a form of a team that's second bottom. And if we do that for the next 15, 20 games, then we'll be mid-table in no time. Now, is that easy to do? No, it's not. Does it just happen with words or clicks of a finger? No, it happens with a lot of hard work and a lot of belief and a lot of support. So we've got to make sure that the very small steps that we've taken recently, even at Ipswich, we should have at least got a draw, if not a win. Well, that was the same last year. We went there and battered them and lost. So, we know that we're on the right track, even if results always don't dictate. Whereas maybe at the start of the season, we were still finding our feet in terms of team, in terms of individuals, and us as staff, trying to find who, where, how, what, all them questions. Whereas I think we're now starting to see the fruit of the hard work. Is it going to be a bumper harvest? I don't think it will be. I still think there's a rocky road ahead. But at the same time, I think that the shoots of growth for this team are starting to appear, and that can only be a positive thing.
Well, let's look at Sheffield Wednesday. Unfortunately for them, over the last few years, they've fallen on hard times, but they're still one of the big clubs in English football, aren't they? And it'll be definitely one that when the fixtures come out that your fans would have been looking for. It's going to be a terrific atmosphere. You must be relishing what you're up against, you know, in terms of what they've got.
Real Madrid are League One. They are, aren't they? You know, I've no idea whether they've got the biggest budget or whatever. I've no idea. I don't know. I know Darren Moore's a great guy, but I know they're also a huge club. Huge club. You know, forget your Sunderlands, forget your Ipswichers. You know, Sheffield Wednesday is a huge club, and you know, we've got to make sure that we are not overawed by any of that. That is white noise as well. It's 11 men against 11 men, and we've got to make sure we're better than them.
Well, you've talked many times about your own fans, and you've already mentioned in this chat here how supportive they've been, but they're going to bring roughly 2,500 Sheffield Wednesday fans. It's one of those, isn't it, where your fans can really show that this is the 12th man for you.
Yeah, I have to say the fans all year have been brilliant, and I mean all year. Home and away, certainly away, they've been magnificent away from home. But at home they've been very good. I think they understand. I think the vast majority of fans understand where we're at. And when a big boy comes into town, then we've got to make sure that we, you know, bring our voices and bring our mates and make sure that we're not overawed in the stands, if you like. I know that sounds crazy, but it's important. It is important that our fans sing their hearts out, that they do make some noise. There's no excuse for the players thinking there's an inferiority complex. You know, don't get me wrong, when you go away and there's 30,000 there, you accept that and you embrace that challenge. When you're at home, you want your own fans to turn up and go, come on then, let's all have a right good go here. And that's what we want. You know, we want that, you know, every week ideally, but certainly when the big boys roll into town.
Yeah, and for your players, you know, Saido, Bellerino, 12, 13 million quid to Stoke, Barry Bannon, international player. They've got international players. They've got Premier League players in the squad. So it must, you know, really get your players up. I know you shouldn't want that, but it always does. You've been there before.
It's human nature. Yeah. It's human nature. You know, if Barry Bannon rolls into town and, you know, Callum Patterson or, you know, Berahino, whoever it is, you know, they've got the task for us is for them to go away and say, I didn't realise that Billy Davies played for Wales in the 21s, and that Zach Williams, and that Tom Lowry's a good player, etc., etc. That's the battle, that's the challenge, and we want everyone from, you know, the season ticket holder, the walk-up fan, chairman, board, myself, staff, press, everyone going, here we go. Let's have a right good go today and see where we get to.
Let's just have a quick round up. I know it's been not long ago since you played, but your preparation was really hampered. Can you get any of them back, or is it a little bit early yet to judge?
It's a bit early. We're hoping one or two do. We'll see. We'll see over the next. You know, I sat here on Friday thinking, oh, that's right. Come Saturday morning, there was plenty of changes. So we'll see how we get on with them over the next sort of 24, 48 hours, and then go from there.